Hello and welcome. You're viewing the Citizens Journalist podcast, Mesa County Compass, that brings you the news that you can use from a different point of view. I'm Ruth.
I'm Lisa.
And together we are Mesa County Compass. Our goal is to create an informed, current, active citizenry armed with the facts. We will be covering what's new to you, what it means to you, what you can do about it, and provide you access to the decision makers when we can. Okay, we're here with Margot Friends, and she is the head, actually, or representing the homeschool library for our city. And just a little information from you, Margot. What is the homeschool library all about, and what are its uses?
So the homeschool library is a free resource. People can come in and get curriculum, books, schooling materials, games, puzzles to help educate their children. And the whole library is donated by people in the community, and then others can come in and take what they need for the year or more. And
well, that's interesting. They donate everything. Yeah.
Everything's donated.
Do you have a large space for that? Where is it located?
Yes, we're in Providence Reformed Church across from Rocket Park, and we have a whole room, probably 10 by 10, 12 by 12, filled with shelves and books. And so,
can you give us a sample of what they are? Can you tell us a little bit?
Well, we have how to homeschool books. We have history curriculum and topic books, science, books on how to homeschool and math curriculum and manipulatives. We have science, history, all levels from preschool up to 12th grade.
Okay, so do you run it as a library? Do people come and check out books, or how do they do that?
It's more like, the little neighborhood libraries where people put in a few books and take a few books out.
Right,
it's pretty much like that, but on a larger scale.
Okay.
So, people bring in stuff. You can take what you need, and so.
Very interesting. Okay, so there is a variety of things to help out with. Is there any particular curriculum that these are based on, or is it just?
No, all sorts. We have faith-based curriculum, secular curriculum, everything from stuff for unschooling up to formal Latin. So.
Excellent. So that covers a lot of bases, doesn't it?
Yes.
So what are your hours at the library?
It varies based on my volunteers, but I'm usually always there Wednesday afternoons, and then I post the hours on our Facebook page every week.
Oh, you do have a Facebook page.
Yes.
What is that Facebook page, please? You can get the card. That's okay.
Well, it's the Grand Valley Homeschool Library. So it's facebook.com/curriculum library is the actual web page.
All right, and that's the way to reach you then is with your email or on Facebook?
Yeah,
what is your email?
The email is hslibrary@gmail. Oh, I'm sorry. hslibrarygj for Grand Junction.
Okay.
At gmail.com.
At gmail.com. All right. Sounds very good. Well, it's very interesting to know that there are books out there that people can get without having to buy any extra.
Yes, and if nothing else, to be able to look at and hold on to and go, do I want to use this to educate my kids?
Right. Okay, so how many people do you get as kind of throughout a week, say, or 2 weeks?
Well, let's see. I would say we have a couple dozen a week.
Interesting.
But,
Just starting out, or are people just using them as they need them?
No, use them. We have people who have been homeschooling for years, and we have people who come in and have no idea what they're doing and are just barely starting. So it's great. And the volunteers who have all homeschooled and can give suggestions.
Yeah. That's always good. That's always good. All right. Well, thank you, Margot, very much for your information. Oh, yes. Good question. We had a question from a member of our listening audience here that says, when did you start this?
Actually, I didn't start it. A homeschool mom named Ann Harder. This was her brainchild probably 8 to 10 years ago, and it bounced around in people's garages and porches, and then Providence Reformed was kind enough to give us the whole room, and it has an outside door, so it's easy access.
Nice.
And it's been a great blessing, and it's been there a good 6 years now. So.
Very good. Excellent. And you did say it was it doesn't have to be secular, it doesn't have to be, it covers a gamut.
Yes, everything,
okay.
And yeah.
Excellent.
And we don't, it doesn't matter how you homeschool, or even if you're part-time homeschooling, and just come get materials and books for your kids.
All right, very good. Thank you, Margot, very much for your information.
Thank you.
Hi, we're here with Debbie Bricker, and she is from, tell us where you're from.
From Growing in Light.
Growing in Light, and she was a district teacher for 35 years before she joined this, and now she teaches second grade.
I teach all grades, K through 5.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And tell us how Growing in Light is different, because I'm trying to remember if I've got the right one where you do pods, or is that not right?
What we do is in the mornings we do core curriculum. So we teach the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic in the morning. And then in the afternoon we have what's called enrichment. And so some of our families choose to attend in the mornings only for core instruction and then leave at lunch and go home and have music lessons or sports. Some of our families choose to come after lunch and only attend our enrichment classes like art, history, or movement or music because their parents are homeschooling in the morning. So we really try to partner with families to do what's best for their families because these are their children, and we want families to have 100% of the say of what their kids need. So we offer lots of varieties. We have some kids that come 2 days a week, some kids that come 4 days a week. We even have a family that travels internationally. They school their kids internationally, and they come to us when they are in Grand Junction.
Wow. Yeah. So, because we've traditionally been, since we did industrialized education, that the school knows best what to teach for the children. And you were kind of raised in that environment too. What do you think you see as a result of parents choosing what's best for their children?
Well, what I see is what God intended. Children were given to their families for a specific reason, and that reason is that parents know those children the best, and they know what their children need. And in the more industrialized system that I worked in for so long, we took that piece out of the puzzle. We eliminated what a parent thought their child needed, and we just gave them a recipe that was given to us for education. And so what I see the difference is that parents truly do know their kids best, and they have their system in their family that we want to honor and support 100%. And it's not, I've raised my children and I did what God led me to do, and now I want parents to do what God's leading them to do. And so we're there to support that. And that looks different for everybody.
Right.
And every kid.
So how do you do your curriculum? So in the morning you said you do reading, writing, arithmetic, and
So we have a curriculum that we use as a base, Bob Jones University, a BJU Press curriculum that we use. We also use a well-trained mind. So we do have like a skeleton, but we also implement and supplement other things to go along with that, depending on the child. We try to take in mind the child's personality and the way they learn and their age and their needs and wants. So we don't put everybody through the system the same way.
Oh,
we
nice.
have have kids that are more motivated maybe by paper pencil activities, and we have other kids who are more motivated by hands-on activities. And we try to honor the child, give the child what they need to be a learner. We want them to be learners because they desire to be learners, not because we're forcing them to be a learner.
So how do you do that? Because I know in the school district they'd say that's always what they're telling you. You need to meet each child's learning style. But when you're in a classroom of 23 or 24, it's impossible to say, okay, we're going to have all these different activities and everybody's going to get to do what they need to do with one teacher.
Right.
So how do you find that works?
Well, a couple of things. We have really small class sizes. So currently we have like a 2 to 8 adult ratio. So that makes it a lot easier to meet the needs of kids. We have the biggest push that I personally have is that I want quality people with the kids. We don't need the things. We don't need technology. We really have no technology. We don't need the fancy things. We just need good teachers with children. And so we try to keep our class numbers small, and that helps. But the other thing that helps is just really being led by what the parents tell you about that child or what they want for their child. For instance, homework. We honor what the parents want for that. We partner with the parents, and we are off on Fridays, and so we really encourage families to take on ownership of their kids' learning on Fridays. We are considered a nonprofit ministry. We do not have to follow any government regulations or requirements. We do have certified teachers working there.
That's nice.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that certification makes you a good teacher.
No, no.
But we do have certified teachers.
It gives you some information that somebody else might not have.
Yes.
And different ways of dealing with kids just because of that background.
Yes, I think the background, and I do think just a sequence in our mind of how we know kids learn, because we've been doing it for a while, helps. So there's 3 certified teachers in the morning that do the core instruction. Myself, another teacher who just left the district after 20 years.
Wow.
We just hired her, and then another teacher who left to have her children of the district, and now she teaches, and her children attend our school.
Very nice.
So
where do you meet?
we are housed at the Orchard Mesa Baptist Church, and Pastor Bob allows us to have our school in their building and supports us 100%. We love being there because of that. He's very attentive to our school and keeps us safe. He's there when we're there, and he's open carry, so we feel really safe with him there. So that's where we're housed.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how do your students pay tuition?
We do have tuition.
So that you can pay your teachers.
Yes, we do, to buy supplies. We don't ask for parents to send any supplies. So we really function just off that tuition. We, help pay the electric there, even though he doesn't ask us to. We do that. We pay a tithe on their tuition to the church. And we also have a paid staff that runs the school. We don't have custodians, principals, nurses. We kind of do it all.
Right.
We're really small. We depend on parents a lot to help us, and we just want to build a community of people who want what's best for their kids, and they don't want somebody telling them what's best for their kids.
So how many kids do you have?
This year we have 29 students enrolled.
Nice.
This is our third year. The first year we started with 13. Last year we had 23, and now we're at 29. So we're a small little community, a lot of siblings, friends, really nice little school community.
Right. And I think with the Christ-based emphasis, you get less discipline problems, and you have parents that are saying, we want the best for our children, we want them to listen, and we want them to grow.
We, number one thing we do is we teach that God's word is true. And if that is true, then we are to be obedient to his word and be respectful to people who are following that word. And we really do rely on God to direct these children and their families. And you're right, we don't really have discipline problems. For us, heart issues are most important, and if there is disobedience, it's not that the child is acting out towards us or anybody else, it's that their heart needs a little bit of work with Jesus. And so we pray and we love on each other, and we try to teach the biblical truths that allow kids to make decisions that they're going to be making their whole lives. Will I obey or will I disobey? And if I disobey, there will be a consequence.
Right.
It will not go well for me.
No,
so,
no.
So we want them to understand that there's a reason we want them to obey, not because we're taking something from them, but because we're giving them life through God's word.
Nice. And how do you find that they perform or have you not had enough to know how well they perform in the district? Because they have to go back to that or a private school. And also, what's your tuition for them?
The tuition question I'm not going to be able to answer for
Okay.
you because I kind of removed myself from that.
There you go.
But it is on our website,
Okay.
and you can find there's a monthly tuition, or you can pay by the year. And then how do we know how kids are doing? Well, I do think that our teacher experience, I taught K all the way down, or all the way up to 5th grade, so I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what they need K-5, the other teachers as well. But we haven't had a group of kids take a standardized test yet, but that will be happening this year.
Okay.
We have done check-ins on, there are lots of programs out there for parents now that they can have their kids take those tests online to see how they're doing, and we have had parents do that. We want parents to really initiate those pieces with their kids and figure out what they want. Some parents don't want to do standardized testing,
Right.
and they feel
They
like
don't feel like there's any value to
no,
that.
they don't feel like there's any value, and they know their child, and they know their child is right where they should be, or farther along than they should be. So,
Probably.
yes.
Probably
So
they are.
I think we focus less on that, but like I said, some families that is important to them, and we want to support that journey so we can proctor those tests for them. Other families are content just to have their child being a learner.
Well, what haven't I asked that you think is important about your school? Because, it just fascinates me, and I love that it's growing. And I think it's really important, but I think it's so ingrained in people that it's hard for them to say, well, what'll happen if I let go and I don't have this structure that I've been told from the outside?
That's so, what you just said just kind of sums up my passion about what I'm doing, is that nobody should be telling you how to educate your child. You know that. You've known your child since before they even were born, and you know this little person and what they need and what they want. And what society wants you to think is you're not capable of
Right.
educating your child, that you're not a teacher. You are a teacher. You taught them to talk. You taught them to walk. You taught them to crawl on your lap to listen to a story. You're so qualified to teach. And so what I love about the school is that we really are partnering with families and empowering them to be the parents that God intended them to be, to not rely on the system. The system wants something different than most parents really want for their kids. But you're right, it is so true. We're ingrained to believe that. And even as teachers, having been in the system, we always say, anytime we start to do something that looks like public school, we stop. Nope, that's what they want us to do, and we're going to do the opposite. So it's a relearning process, and I think for our country, it's taking back what belongs to us at every level, whether it's family, education, anything. It's not the government's to tell us what to do. It's your own family knows what's best, and you need to do that. So I think that's what I love best, is we have all kinds of people that come, but they all have the same common goal, and that is to take their families back.
That is wonderful. So give us how they would contact you
Yes.
if they would like to see if that's good for their children.
So if you're interested in growing in light, you can go online and find our website. On the website, there's a phone number and an email that you can contact. Somebody will get back in touch with you.
And the email is?
The email is info@growinginlight.org.
Okay. Well, Debbie, thank you so much. And I just pray for all your
Thank
success.
you. That's what we want, a lot of prayer for our families.
Yes. and taking back our education.
Please.
Okay, we are here with Amalia with Choice Academy. Give us a little information about Choice Academy, Amalia. I know it's kind of a follow-up from last year, but tell us a little bit about yourself, about Choice Academy, and the new stuff that's happening there, okay?
Right, yes. Okay, so we are Choice Academies, and we were founded 2 years ago in 2022. A group of moms, homeschool moms, and teachers decided to kind of collaborate and come up with kind of a middle option for school choice. Right now, there is, a very wide span of school choice. There's free, right, which is public school or charter schools. Those are essentially government ran. You can't talk about God at all, not even in the charter schools, sadly. I think we have some great charter school options in town, but they are not allowed to pray, things like that. The teachers aren't allowed to pray with the students. So that is one option. That's free, right? And on the clear other end of the spectrum, there is a pretty high cost. It is mom or dad are going to have to quit their jobs. They're going to have to probably take a $40,000 on average household income pay cut for one parent to homeschool. So that's another option for schooling. Another option is about anywhere between 5. Grand Junction is a little lower than 5, but on average about 5 to 10,000 a student for private schooling, and then you can pick kind of whatever private schooling you want. If you want it to be biblically based or not, that's still quite a bit if you have 3 or more kids.
It is definitely
right. And so us moms and teachers got together and we thought there's got to be something in the middle. There's got to be a more affordable option. And so we thought and just really collaborated, and Choice Academies was born. There's just so many. Brittany Rodell was really key in just teaming up with me and diving into all of the inner workings of what it would take to create something that would be more moderately priced but yet still biblical. So we are private, affordable biblical education. So how we do it at $40 a month is we team up with, we partner with churches to where if they have like an extra classroom or two that isn't being used Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, they are essentially church sponsors, and they allow us to use their building for minimal costs. So we don't have to pay to build a big private school, right? So that saves a lot. We don't have to pay teachers on staff because the way that we are modeled is we don't pay teachers, to teach day in and day out. It is the parents that teach. So we are looking for foundational parents that would essentially help form a pod. And a learning pod is 14 kids.
Okay.
And so with that, we have enough parents with 14 kids that are able to rotational teach. And so working parents can still participate and teach their children, right?
Right.
And they can rotate and volunteer and help, while some of the families that are part of the learning pod might have already a homeschool parent, right, that's already not working,
there,
to be able to do a little more days. So it all works out, and so that's a huge savings. So we're excited that this is going to be a choice, for the future. We have decided, this is a big announcement for this school year, we have decided, the advisory board has decided to take a pause on enrollment this year. So we did it the last 2 years, kind of like a trial run.
Right.
And there was a lot of wonderful things that came of it. The kids got so close, the families got so close. I mean, the spiritual growth, academic growth was just, it was just amazing. And I just praise the Lord. He did it, and He made it happen. We would like it to be a lot more structured, a lot more. It was structured, but we would like more in order to be able to replicate these pods and how they did it. Because we essentially, it was a science experiment. We were looking at these pods and how it worked, and what worked and what didn't work. So we're going to be really dissecting that. We are looking for community volunteers that have experience as maybe a retired teacher administratively or whatever. So this year we are really wanting to get more community volunteers on our advisory board. That would be really essential.
Well, folks, if you have a want to continue on with helping children with their education, get a hold of the Choice Academy, and we'll give you a phone number and way to do that here a little bit later.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, because our sages in this community is essential for the youth, to access a biblical education. We are just up against so much. The government wants kids to be in that free public education where they're not hearing the gospel,
where they're being indoctrinated rather than having a good basis in faith.
Yes, and there's things that are happening in the classroom that just don't belong. There's very well-meaning teachers, there's very well-meaning administrators, even on our town, across the country. However, when you have essentially a godless institution, which they have twisted the Constitution, and separation of church and state was never meant to be, we don't pray in school.
Right.
We have prayed in school since the founding of our country.
Right.
In our one-room schoolhouses. We have read out of the Bible. And getting away from that is only going to be the detriment of our society. It's not indoctrinating kids to become Christian or anything like that. There's a lot of freedom in the Bible, and the kids will still be allowed to choose, what they believe, what they don't believe. But train up in a child in the way they should go is huge, and that is being under attack. For academics to be involved in any kind of sexualizing children, telling them they can be a boy or a girl, to me, it's child abuse as an educator. These are these kids that are not even fully developed, sexually.
Right.
Their sexual organs are not fully developed.
Right.
That is probably the most evil indoctrination that can be happening to the little ones, and it really bothers me, and it should bother everyone that this would even be a possibility of happening. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but in bigger cities it's happening more frequently. We do need to encourage, role models in our valley, Christians, to stay the course and probably stay in teaching in public education, because can you imagine if there weren't any?
Oh my. Yes, it would be a sad situation.
So we can't war against each other. We can't, but we definitely can have choices. And our country has proven, capitalism works. And a lot of people really say bad things against capitalism, but really it boils down to choice. And God is a God of choice. He never forces His will on us.
Thereby the good name, Choice Academy.
Right, and we are excited because, as we grow, we're hoping that in the middle and high school aged learning pods, that the kids can hear both sides. So a lot of times in private biblical schools, some kids will only hear creation. Mm-hmm. They won't hear much about the alternative, that it's just painted as evolution is bad. Well, they need to know what those evolution are talking about, so those kids can dissect those, philosophies and weigh in on them themselves, right?
Right.
And then they need to have debates with other kids, either in other schools or other public schools or whatever. So, that's what we're hoping, is to really provide a well-rounded education that's very parent-driven, because parents know their kids best. And when they're involved in education, whether it's private, public, chartered, whatever, the kids are going to thrive when parents are actively involved. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Amalia, how do we get a hold of you now?
Yes, so we have an email. It's admin@choice-academies.org. That's an excellent way you can email. You can also call my personal cell phone at 970-270-3431.
Thank you very much. We do appreciate you taking the time out.
Yes, definitely. And just making sure that we have some foundational volunteers and foundational families that are going to help propel us. So yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm with Amy, and she is from Thinkster Math.
Correct.
Talk to us about what is this and who does it serve, what grades, all that.
All right. So Thinkster is predominantly an online math platform. However, I am just starting a Grand Junction affiliation for Thinkster Math. So Thinkster's been around for 15 years. I've been working there for 2 years, and now I'm excited to kind of bring a hybrid in-person and online math tutoring platform.
Wow.
So it's personalized learning. It's totally based off of the kid, where they're at. They come in, everyone is entitled to a free week trial. And on that free week trial, you get a grade level assessment, including a full parent report. So reporting back all the information on where they're at currently. And then that's how we create our personalized learning plans. So based off of the work the student does, we then design exactly the plan they need to get them to reach that growth. We do say it's 20 minutes a day, most days of the week. So the thing that was really our differentiator is it's not just you're coming in once a week or twice a week for some intensive tutoring. It's more about the plan and what they're doing in between sessions to get them feeling confident and experienced with the math.
And so they would be coming in to see you once a week, or they don't have to?
Right now, it is through Zoom and online. I am just figuring out what it's going to look like in Grand Junction, so I might have a meetup space, but for right now, it is an online platform. And then, if they add on the tutoring from a professional, then that is one-on-one.
Okay, and what grade levels will that help?
It is from K to Algebra 1, so that's what the platform has a full curriculum for, so all the way up to our 9th graders.
And so apparently you love math,
I do.
and so real helpful. How do you make it so that with a Zoom, so that you can tell where they're not getting it?
Oh, well, I've learned it's actually pretty similar to having them in person. There's very little that I actually need a student to be able to get their hands on and manipulate for them to be able to build that understanding. But the platform, it has it all set up and ready to go for me. So we have like a patented AI, and so the AI system, which is really why I love being a part of Thinkster, because it's using my expertise as the professional along with what the data in the computer can tell me. So using those data points, I'm really able to target exactly what each kid needs, which I love.
And how do people contact you for that assistance? And can you give us a range of costs for student tutoring?
Yes. So if parents are just using the platform, it's of course going to be much more cost effective than if they're adding on the tutoring. Most families do just a half an hour actually a week. So it's really intensive tutoring, and then again, it is more about the work that's happening in between sessions. So there's a different plan for every family. It's about $30 per month if you're just using the platform, and then add on, obviously, depending on how much tutoring is needed.
That's pretty cost effective, I think.
The easiest way they can find me is if they were able to scan. That'll take you right where you need to go. But I'm on all the socials as Ace It with Amy. So you can go to aceitwithamy.com. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Facebook. We're just getting out there. So aceitwithamy.com. Come say hi.
Great. Anything else you think that we should know? So social media, you've worked with this program before. What kind of success rate do you see for students?
I think the hugest data point is how long families stay with Thinkster. So on average, families stay for 30 months. So I started 2 years ago. I have many students who I've seen from when I first started till now. So when people start with Thinkster, they tend to stay with Thinkster because it really does provide what they need. Kids are often not getting the individualized attention that they need in the classroom.
And it's hard because they're at different levels, and you can go back. I know that math is sequential, so you get those gaps when they went ahead and you didn't get that one little spot there.
So
and you
hard.
have to go fill in the gap, and then you can move on, because you just get lost the farther and farther you go. And so many kids struggle with math.
Exactly, and I'm glad you understand that. On top of that, it makes it that much harder for the teacher.
Right.
How is the teacher supposed to meet so many varied needs at one time in the room? So we are often serving families who are in school, right, in regular mainstream school, and then we see them after school, and then we also serve a lot of homeschool families as well. Somebody
Okay.
who wants the little extra added math support. A lot of adults themselves don't feel like they can support their own kids
You
with
don't know they're doing the
mathematics.
program with the kids. And they're going, okay, that gap I didn't have.
And truthfully, it is designed so parents don't have to be involved. Like, it can just be totally the student is able to use the platform and get what they need. But I love to have parents who are like super involved and learning along with the kid right there. Yeah.
Well, you forget. I mean, they ask you, how do you do this? I'm going, I did it. I obviously got all the way through a graduate degree, but I do have a sign on my refrigerator said, another day has passed and I haven't used algebra once.
But the thinking skills.
But I know it's there.
The critical thinking,
Yes,
the problem
yeah,
solving.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
every day.
That's true. That's true. Well, I think this is an amazing new thing that we have for Grand Junction, and I'll be anxious to see, and we will definitely be online to look at your program and
All right.
keep in touch. Let us know how
Absolutely.
it
I
goes.
can't wait to see you all there.
All right. Thank you, Amy.
Have a great one.
You too.